Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Alright. No idea if this is going to work, but, 700th time's the charm. What is up, everyone? If you're hearing this, you are finally hearing the first episode of the Preston Sports Podcast. I've been working on this for a real long time. I've had some difficulties with hardware and software, but I think that I've finally figured out a way. It's super annoying, but I think that I've done it. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, legs crossed, arms crossed, all that good stuff. So, this will be going up, if everything goes to plan, it will be going up the week of the 24th, and then I will get on a regular upload schedule, which will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Plan is Monday, Wednesday, talk about just any sports stuff that's happening, possibly a Julio trade, possibly an Aaron Rodgers trade. We'll see what happens in the sports world. And then Friday, I want to take one team each Friday and then just look at them, see what I can do with them, give my personal opinions on where they are now, where they could be come football season, come February, and then see what I would do during this season before trade deadline, and then this next off season, predicting who would be free agents, who they re-sign, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much just taking them over kind of for the next year, if you've ever done a Madden franchise. Kind of doing that for this next year, so by where I would have them as this time next year, I won't be doing anything draft related because that is just so unpredictable. I know you can make a point that free agency is also that unpredictable, but with the draft, you've seen players like, you've seen players like Joe Burrow go from a projected 4th to 6th round quarterback to the number 1 overall pick. Or you can have a player like Trevor Lawrence, who's supposed to be the number 1 overall pick since his junior year of high school. You range from all over the board. But today, don't really have that much planned. I'm a Browns fan. It's pretty obvious. But I do have the schedule in front of me. Let me just double check it real quick to make sure it's the 2021 schedule. So I'm just going to talk about that, what I like about the schedule, if there's anything I don't like about the schedule. And yeah, I'm just going to talk about sports pretty much. Here, let's look it up. I know week 1 is Kansas City, and that's a game that I personally think is a good game for us. I think that people are talking about it like it's some awful thing and it sucks that we have to play the Chiefs week 1. But if you really think about it, the main problem with us playing the Chiefs was injuries last time. On the first play of offense, Jedrick Wills got hurt. And we were out Greedy Williams and Grant Delpit, and we were out Odell. We were out all these players, and I think Kendall Lamb also got hurt, backup left tackle. And so it got to a point where we were running our third string guard at tackle, which is not the situation you want to be in. So I think week 1 is the best time to play it, because the game, I believe it was 22-17 Kansas City, and we've improved our defense massively. You got to figure, depending on what formation we come out in, whether it's in a base 4-3 with 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and I believe that would be 4 DBs. That's math. Yeah, that adds up to 11. Or if we came out in what Joe Woods likes to want, a 4-2-5, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 DBs, we would have anywhere from 8 to 9, maybe 7 new defensive starters, with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and then possibly Ronnie Harrison being the only players carrying over their starting roles from last year. Everyone else is either gone in free agency, cut. That's pretty much it. Or they were just demoted at some point. So we only lost by 5 points, and you can make the argument that Kansas City got better, but I don't see them as getting that much better. Yes, their offensive line, they get better. But you gotta figure, you're pulling Kyle Long out of retirement. How long is it gonna take him to get back to where he was? You're taking Joe Thuney. Now, Joe Thuney, one of the best guards in football. He got paid a monster. I think it was 5 years, $80 million. Got paid a massive deal. He earned it. Great guard. They have Creed Humphrey, I believe his name is, coming out of Alabama, the center. They signed. That's it. They traded for Orlando Brown Jr. And so they pretty much have a full offensive line. The way I see it, you have Orlando Brown Jr. left tackle, Chris Long right tackle, right? 1 second. Yeah. Orlando Brown Jr., left tackle, Chris Long, Chris Long, Kyle Long, one of the long people. One Long at left tackle. You put Joe Thuney at left guard, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif at right guard. I guess you can switch them either way, whichever way works, and then Creed Humphreys at center. So, whichever way it ends up working out, what I would like it to be is you have Creed Humphreys at center, and then going to the right side, you have Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, and then Kyle Long, Chris Long, whichever one it is. I think it's Chris Long. Let me double check real quick. But anyways, that would be the best way, because that means their entire right side of the offensive line is either two players who haven't played in a year. Okay, it's not Chris Long, it's Kyle Long, I believe. So it would be two players who haven't played in a year, and then it would be a rookie. So that would be the best situation. You could put... I don't know how you would want to do that. You would probably want to put Miles against Kyle Long. Or I guess you could put Jadeveon against him, have Miles work that double team against Orlando Brown and Joe Thuney. But I like the Chiefs week 1. I'm not saying I think we're going to win that game week 1. I think our defense will definitely be better than it was last year. I think that our offense, like the Browns, somehow an 11-5 playoff team got exponentially better. You got to figure, we had one of the worst defenses in the league last year. Like, to put it in perspective, if a team didn't match up with what our team was good at, for example, the Browns matched up very well against, say, the Titans week 13. That's why we were able to beat them. We were able to shut Derrick Henry down. Only ran for like 60-some yards. We were able to beat the Titans. But say we went up against someone like the Raiders. I think we had 6 offensive drives against the Raiders. So if it was a team that matched up well with our strengths and our weaknesses, Titans' strength, they run outside runs a lot. So we had Olivier Vernon and Myles Garrett who can run contain. Actually, I don't even think... Yeah, we did have Myles Garrett for the Titans game. But Olivier Vernon and Myles can run contain pretty well. And they can force them to cut back, and then our linebackers and defensive tackles are there. But say the Raiders, they run a lot of smash mouth in between the guards football. We don't have good enough defensive tackles as far as a run stopping point. Larry Ogunjobi was mainly pass rush orientated, and Sheldon Richardson was a good mix of both, but he wasn't great at run stopping. So the Raiders were able to drain enough clock for us to only have 6 drives in 4 quarters, which is insane clock management. So the Browns' defense now, honestly, it should be a top 10 defense. And the offense only got better, because not only did you add Odell back into the mix, but you put him into a more dynamic position, because you also took Anthony Schwartz in the 3rd round of the draft, who has elite speed. So, because Odell was the fastest player on our offense, and so when JoJo Natson went down in week 3, the guy who we would run jet sweeps with, or we would have him run the streak on the backside of play action boot, Odell had to take up that responsibility. So week 4 in Dallas, he took a couple jet sweeps. He was throwing a couple balls around. He would run the streaks on the backside of play action. That's actually how he got put into the position whenever Baker was 0-5 through that interception, and then Odell got hurt trying to make the tackle. So you put Anthony Schwartz on that back end, or I guess you can even put DPJ there on the back end, Donovan Peoples-Jones, second-year player out of Michigan. And then you can have Odell in the slot or at your other outside receiver position. Or you can even go 4 receivers because you have that depth. You can put Odell, Jarvis, Rashad Higgins, and then either DPJ or Anthony Schwartz out if you want. And then you add James Hudson as your swing tackle. You can have Michael Dunn as your swing guard, or you can have Michael Dunn or Blake Hansen. Either one, they both played well come playoff time during COVID. So and then that that gives you the opportunity to release Chris Hubbard in his $7 to $8 million a year contract. The Browns, and then you consider that they added to their defense in such massive areas. You add John Johnson, who's one of the best young safeties in the league. You add Troy Hill, one of the most versatile cornerbacks in the league. He can play slot, he can play outside. Then through that, You have Greg Newsome as well, but through adding Troy Hill, someone who can play slot and outside, that gives Denzel Ward the ability to follow receivers. You noticed last year when Greedy Williams was down and we were running Denzel, Kevin Johnson, and Terrence Mitchell, Denzel had to stay on one side of the field. He couldn't, say for the playoff game, he couldn't follow Tyreek Hill. He couldn't follow Marquise Brown against the Ravens. He couldn't follow Tyler Boyd against the Bengals. So now that you have Troy Hill who's able to play outside corner, and don't get me wrong, he's not insane. He's not some crazy good lockdown outside corner. He's definitely much better than the slot. But he gives you that flexibility now. And like I said, if the Browns matched up well against the team, they did really good. If they didn't, they did really bad. So now you sign all these players, Anthony Walker Jr., you draft Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You get Andrew Billings back after his opt-out. You take Marvin Wilson from undrafted free agency. You get John Johnson. You're going to get Grant Delpit back. You draft Tony Fields, linebacker. You draft Richard LeCrant, safety. You get all these opportunities to make your defense so much more dynamic. You add Jadeveon Clowney on the other end of Myles Garrett. You add Takk McKinley to where you can put it to where you can have Myles or Jadeveon Clowney go inside so you can run 3 defensive ends and 1 defensive tackle. Like, the possibilities for the Browns defense is so much wider than it was last season. And in just one offseason and like 40-some million in cap space, Andrew Berry was able to make one of the worst defenses one of the best defenses. Don't be surprised if the Browns have a top 5 defense next year. I don't think it will be top 5. I think there's a lot of good defenses. I think it'll probably be around. What you need it to be is 15-10. I think it will probably be closer to 10, 9, 8, somewhere around there. That's all I want. That's all I need it to be. Obviously, it would be great if it was top 3, top 5. Not sure if that's where it will be, especially at the beginning of the season. But so anyways, I got really off track there just talking about the Browns. Going through there, so they play Chiefs. Then we get an easy game with easy game with the Texans. If Deshaun Watson isn't playing for the Texans, no one's scared of the Texans. Easy game. Bears. I'm not scared of the Bears. Everyone's talking about Andy Dalton starting. I think Justin Fields should start, but I think Andy Dalton, actually, Matt Nagy needs to protect his job. Maybe Justin Fields does start. But even if he does, I'm not scared of the Bears. Like, the Bears' strength is their defense, and I'm not scared of them against our offense. I'm really not. They got rid of Kyle Fuller, so they lost their best corner. I'm not too scared. They do have Roquan Smith and Khalil Mack, and Eddie Jackson. Those are scary people, but I'm confident that our defense can beat their offense more than their defense can beat our offense. Vikings, that will be a fun game to watch. I'm very excited about that game. Vikings should be really good this year. They get their defensive players back off of injury. Justin Jefferson is great. Adam Thielen is great. Dalvin Cook is great. It's just a question of, I think that's going to be a good game to watch. Definitely an underrated game on the schedule. I do think the Browns will win that game just because I think the Browns have a more complete roster. But I could honestly, I think the Browns win that game. Chargers, that will be a good test for the Browns. I'm talking about their new defense. If they can beat the Chargers. Now, granted, the Chargers are nothing spectacular offensively. Austin Eckler, while underrated as running back, is not top 10. Keenan Allen, top 5 route runner, probably a top 10 overall receiver. Mike Williams, great deep ball guy. You lost Hunter Henry. You do have... Wait, didn't they? That's funny. They got Brian Bulaga from the Packers last year and then Corey Linsley from the Packers this year. Center and left or right tackle. I forget which one. But Chargers, you should win that game. But I would not be surprised to see the Chargers win that game. I think Justin Herbert's really good. I'm hoping for a Justin Herbert sophomore slump. New head coach. We'll see what happens with that. Browns-Cardinals. Good freaking game here. Good freaking game. I might be there in Cleveland for that game. That should be a really fun game to watch. I'm not going to give my prediction for all the games. I'm going to give my predictions for the ones I'm confident about. Cardinals-Browns, not one I'm confident in. Kyler Murray, really good quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins, he's kind of good at playing football. AJ Green, Not as good as he was, but he was also the number one guy all the time in Cincy. So, and say, by some means, Cardinals trade for Julio? You got D-Hop, Julio, AJ Green. That's a deadly trio. And even they got Rondell Moore in the draft. I'm just saying. Get this team a tight end. And then that defense, Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt. You got. Now, I will say, cornerback is weak for them. Byron Murphy Jr., I think, is their best option right now. And he should be. Oh, he should be. Is he a third-year player or a second-year player? He should be a third-year player, I think. But Byron Murphy, solid corner, but they don't have much outside of that. Budda Baker's a beast, obviously. Browns Broncos. I might also be in Cleveland for that game. Thursday night football game. I think Browns win that game. I don't expect Drew Lock to do that well. I don't think Drew Lock is that good. Browns Steelers Halloween Day. I mean, boo Steelers. Browns win that game, obviously. Browns Bengals. Okay, I should talk about the Browns Steelers game more. Steelers will want revenge. Browns won't let them. I think the Steelers got embarrassed on Wild Card Weekend. I think the Browns, I don't know. There's something, every Browns fan will say that there's something different about this season, and they say that every year around April, May, but there honestly is. Like, if the Browns don't win the division, I will be disappointed. Obviously, you want to win the division, but this is the one time where I expect them to win the division. I know the Ravens are good. I expect them to win the division. So, yeah, Bengals. I could see a splitting with the Bengals this year. I don't think we will, but I could see it happening. Joe Burrow, good at football. Jamar Chase, really good at football. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been good at football together before. Defense, still nothing spectacular. Browns, Patriots. Everyone. Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick. Yeah, he signed Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith. But Matt Judon, like, we're talking about Matt Judon like he's elite. He's good. He ain't elite, though. Like, he signed a bunch of third-string receivers. I don't care. He drafted Mac Jones. Sure, Mac Jones is supposed to be the next Tom Brady. I don't care. I'm not scared of the Patriots. Just not. Now, I do think the Patriots will be a lot better than they were last year, but I'm not scared of them. Browns should be able to beat them easily. Browns-Lions, that is a game I might go to in Cleveland. I have to make my decision. My mom, for my birthday in March, said she was going to take me to one Browns game in Cleveland. And so, I could go to the Cardinals game, which should be a good football game, or I can go to the Lions game, where we're just going to win. It's a difficult decision for me. And then, the best part of the schedule. 3 weeks. We play at Baltimore, bye week, home versus Baltimore. And that is the best thing ever because, first of all, we play at Baltimore. If we win, great. If we don't, no big deal. We get a bye week, and then we play them again. Now, mind you, after the bye week last year, let me do the math real quick. We lost 3 games, including the playoff loss after the bye last year. And we had 10 games. So we went 7-3 after the bye. Now, I think that, and then the Ravens play Pittsburgh. That's an important thing too. So they play what is one of the most, well, I don't know if Pittsburgh is one of the most physical teams anymore. They're kind of losing that. But we have a bye week. They play Pittsburgh, and that's a heated rivalry too. So we get a week to watch them, and Kevin Stefanski gets a week to watch them and say, okay, this is what they did, this is how they beat us, this is how we're going to beat them. And so, honestly, I think that is where the division will be won. If the Browns sweep the Ravens, Browns win. If they don't, I think Ravens will win. Browns-Raiders, talked about the Raiders earlier. I hope the Browns beat them. That would be preferable. I believe that's on a Saturday, actually. Hope we beat the Raiders. Raiders aren't that good. Browns-Packers, Christmas Day game. Super excited for this. All I want for Christmas is a dub. Depends on if Aaron Rodgers is on the team or not. Even then, I think the Browns got a shot. Browns-Steelers, January 3rd. I think we already played on January 3rd. That's a Sunday night game, Monday night game, either one. And then we finish the season off against the Bengals. All in all, very excited for this season. Let Let me see if there's anything new with the Browns right now. I am so excited for this season. I think this should be one of our best seasons yet. A couple players that you should look for this season that kind of aren't being talked about. Obviously, look for Nick Chubb, look for Myles Garrett. They're going to be great as usual. Denzel Ward. Watch for Denzel Ward. Like I said, Denzel Ward, with a now versatile defense around him, Denzel Ward, for the past 3 years in Cleveland, has been the secondary. Note, if the secondary was good, it's because Denzel Ward was playing out of his mind. If the secondary was it's because Denzel Ward had to cover everyone himself. So now that you're putting players around him, Greg Newsome, you got Troy Hill, John Johnson, Grant Delpit should be back around week 6. Ronnie Harrison. You got all these players around him now that can carry their own weight, and he doesn't have to carry them for him. He can follow their best receiver. That's what I'm super excited for. So, yeah, watch for him. Watch for Odell. Should have a better year, assuming he stays healthy. I think Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon should have a really big year, taking those double teams away. Who else am I going to say watch out for? You're going to want to watch out for Austin Hooper. He started coming on at the end of last year. I think Jedrick Wills is going to take another leap after. So you got to figure, last year in a COVID offseason, he switched from the right side of the offensive line to the left side of the offensive line. Now, in middle school, I played offensive line. Don't ask me why, but I played offensive line. Switching from the right side to the left side is the most confusing thing you can do. So go into the mirror, and then, I shouldn't say go to the mirror, do anything with your non-dominant hand and expect you to do it perfectly. And that's what going, except for your whole body. You got to figure, if you're on the right side, you lead with your left foot, and then you start dropping with your right foot, and it's switched, but that shifts your weight from your right hip to your left hip, or probably not your hips. Sorry if that's bad form. My coaches would be disappointed. But you are switching everything about the way you play your position. So yeah, watch for Jedrick Wills. Should be much better. Is there anyone else? Baker Mayfield. We aren't talking about it. Baker Mayfield played like a top 5 quarterback at the end of last year. Not even as a biased Browns fan, just statistically, he played like a top 5 quarterback. I talked about after the bye week, his record. After the bye week, Baker Mayfield, I don't know touchdowns. He only threw 2 interceptions, one of them in a playoff game. I mean, I don't know what that tells you, but I would say only throwing 2 interceptions over the span of 10 games is not too shabby. Nothing to laugh at. Jarvis, should expect a normal Jarvis year. Maybe a little better than last year just because he's not wide receiver 1. And I haven't talked enough about him. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. My man he's going to go off this year. I know in his press conferences, and I know I'm the only one who watches football press conferences, but he's saying no, I'm not going to use the fact that the other teams passed up on me as motivation. But he's using that as motivation. He's thinking all these teams, every team passed up on him. Every team passed up on him. So he's thinking, why'd you pass up on me? Is it because of my heart issue that wasn't near as bad as it was made to be? Owusu-Koramoah gonna go off. Kareem. Yeah, I think everyone. I don't think anyone else is particularly sticking out to me as far as someone who's gonna have a big year. Yeah, I mean, I think Kareem should have a really good year. Kareem A.J. Hunt is his full name. Nice. He's only 25 years old. He's turning 26 this year, though. That's insane. He's entering, what is this, year 5? He got 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so he's entering year 5 and he's only 25. That's ridiculous. But yeah, super excited for Kareem this year. I got into an argument with Corbin about Kareem Hunt. So I believe that Kareem Hunt would be a starter on a bunch of teams in the NFL. Just because, I watch him play. And he disagreed with me. So right now I'm just kind of looking at some stats. So I don't think Kareem has ever been as good as he was his rookie year. I think at the beginning of this year we saw it a little bit, but he kind of bottomed out whenever Nick Chubb got hurt. But, let's think about it. As a rookie, his rookie stats, 1,327 yards, 8 touchdowns, 63 first downs, long of 69, 4.9 yards per carry, averaged 82.9 yards a game. And his receiving stats, we go 53 catches for 455 yards and 3 touchdowns with a 78 long, 84.1 catch percentage. And so we go, what does total scrimmage yards be? So let's say 450, 455 plus, so it was about 1,800 scrimmage yards. That's insane. Let's look at 2020. So he started in 5 games. Oh, he probably started the Texans game. That makes sense. So we're gonna say he had 198 rushes for 841 yards. He got 6 rushing touchdowns. That doesn't sound like a lot, but hold on one second. He averaged 4.2 yards a carry, 52.6 rushing yards a game. And then so his yards don't say it, but he was a key receiving threat this year. 38 catches, 304 yards. He had 5 receiving touchdowns. 5 receiving touchdowns. He fumbled twice this year. I don't remember that. That's unfortunate. Had 1,100 yards per scrimmage. Kareem Hunt, I'm expecting a big year from him. I'm expecting a big year from everyone in the Browns. The reason I say that, I think Baker Mayfield will have a really good year. You gotta figure, this is Baker Mayfield's first year since what? Lincoln Riley, that he's had a head coach for 2 years in a row. And not only that, but a head coach of the quality of Kevin Stefanski coming off a Coach of the Year season. I am very excited for this season. I don't really know if there's anything else I can blabber on about. So I'm going to leave it there for this episode. Like I said, eventually, when I say eventually, I mean by next week, I should be able to get to a somewhat schedule. I'm thinking Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, talking about regular sports news. Friday, kind of doing like a look at this team. This is where they suck. This is where they're great. What can we do with it to make them a Super Bowl contender for 2022? Other than that, obviously, like, subscribe. I hate that I said it, but you gotta do it. The more you do it, the less I say it. Hope everyone has a good morning, day, evening, night. I don't know when this is going up. But yeah, peace out, guys. Thanks for listening. I will see you guys on Monday, hopefully. Bye-bye!